Merry Christmas, everybody. So, technically, at the time of this recording, it is 10:34 on Christmas Eve, but pretty much once I upload this video, and if you're living in the East Coast right now, it is technically Christmas Day, so yeah, that's why I decided to say Merry Christmas. And also, unfortunately, I don't have a Christmas hat at home. I was gonna go to Target to buy one, and in fact, I actually just got back from there, but couldn't find one at Target, which is kind of interesting because I usually find a Christmas hat there. I'm guessing probably they sold out because it was so popular, and I don't really have a Christmas sweater. I mean, this one that I'm wearing is kind of a sweater, but it doesn't have like an ugly pattern that makes it a Christmas sweater. So, yeah, it kind of doesn't feel very Christmassy, although I do have a Christmas tree. And if I go over here, oh well, the board is kind of blocking, but there is a Christmas tree behind. It's a very tiny one. I'm actually not just gonna get it because I have to walk around this board, and that's gonna be a little bit chaotic to try to walk around the board and potentially trip over one of this stand. But either way, hope you guys have a great Christmas. And to celebrate Christmas, I am gonna bring you some news that has happened in the last couple of days in MLS. And, as we get to the holiday season, the news cycle has definitely slowed down a bit. Obviously, I think mainly due to the fact that I think everybody wants to have like their time at home and kind of want to just get through this holiday without thinking of the fact that one of their player is either leaving or one of their player that they're rumored to get is going to happen. And I'm assuming once Christmas is over and once the New Year is over, the rumor mill is going to go completely berserk again. But we did have some interesting rumors, and the first one I'm going to be talking about is something that I don't really know if this is actually true, but it seemed like Orlando City have turned down $7 million offer for Sebastian Mendez from LDU Quito, which is an Ecuadorian club. The reason why I don't know if this is true isn't the fact that Orlando City turned a very lucrative kind of offer from a foreign club to get one of their players, and especially to get Sebastian Mendez, which, he's a decent kind of player, but definitely not anywhere close to worth $7 million. But what makes me kind of feel like this isn't really true is the fact that the club that wants to get him is an Ecuadorian club, and I don't remember any time when an Ecuadorian club can just go into MLS or go into any league and offer that amount of money. Like, unless this is a record transfer fee for an Ecuadorian club, that just seems a little bit strange. The fact that you have not a European club or not a big well-known kind of South American club offer that much amount of money to get a mediocre kind of player. So yeah, we shall see if this, of course, was true or not. And obviously, Mendes is not going to be going to LDU Quito, as this rumor has says they turned down $7 million offer for them. And if this rumor does true, I'm kind of shocked the fact that Orlando City turned that one down. Consider, like I said, Mendes, I think he's a decent player, but he's nowhere near what I think should be worth $7 million. And if you get that offer for him, yeah, you definitely hit the sell button and take that offer and run with the money, because that is an absolute bargain of a deal. Not for LDU Quito, but for Orlando City to get some profit out of that. Orlando City have also acquired Argentine defender Rodrigo Schleckel. I think that's how you pronounce his name. This is a defender from Racing. He's not really a regular starter for that club. He only made 5 appearances, but I think Orlando City, they want to add some defensive shape in their team, and that they're hoping that this guy that is with one of the well-known team in Argentina and a team that actually won the Argentine Premier Division last year can do well for their club. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he's gonna do in MLS, despite the fact that he didn't really play a lot with the club that he was for last time. New England is another club that also have signed a defender, and this time they signed defender Samba Camara from a League 2 side, and I heard he was one of the top defender in League 2, so I think that's definitely a good signing for New England. And it's also show that New England is not messing around. I mean, I remember it was a couple of weeks ago that wasn't Bruce Arena just said that they need a DP striker and a defender that they're looking for in the offseason. Well, literally 2 weeks later, he exactly fulfilled what he was going to say by bringing a DP striker and now bringing a defender. And yeah, I mean, that you could definitely tell that New England isn't messing around and that they want to get these deals done thick and fast. And now it's going to be interesting to see, is this it for them in terms of the signing? Like, judging how fast they have done in terms of this deal, I don't think this is the last deal that New England is going to do before the season starts. Now, the Union also acquired a defender. Well, actually, they didn't acquire a defender, but more of a defensive midfield player, as they acquired Jose Andres Martinez in this deal. And I'm guessing this is a replacement for Harris Medunian, who they lost to FC Cincinnati after they decided. I think did they traded him to FC Cincinnati? I think they traded him to FC Cincinnati, and now they're looking to try to get a bit of a replacement in that defensive mid, and we'll see if Jose Andres Martinez could be that guy that takes the place of Harris Medunian in that defensive mid for the Union. Inter Miami is now report to sign Juan Agudelo, and this is very interesting because there's been a lot of rumor the fact that Juan Agudelo was going to sign TFC, and then out of nowhere this week, it seemed like Inter Miami want to try to hijack this deal and try to get Juan Agudelo away from TFC. And you know, it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to do with Inter Miami. Obviously, you know, for a guy that has been kind of a journeyman in MLS and a guy that you know he has quality and you know that he can be a very decent MLS attacker, but he just hasn't really, like most of the teams that he has been throughout his career, he has showed some flashes that he can definitely fulfill the potential of being one of the best attacker, but it just doesn't seem like it always happens. So hopefully this will finally be the moment where he join an expansion team and do well with them and finally fulfill that potential that I think a couple of years ago when we saw Juan Agudelo come into the league and perform, we thought that he could be the next best thing in this league and that he could be one of the best attacker in this league. Turns out it didn't really quite work out, and we thought he could be a decent attacking player for the U.S. men's national team, and he did have a couple of caps with the national team, but he just couldn't quite break into the next level and couldn't really quite fulfill his potential of potentially playing for the national team regularly. Atlanta. So, Atlanta is interested in a Paraguayan center midfielder, Mateus Villasanti, and of course, Atlanta is rumored with a Paraguayan center midfield because they seems to really like signing Paraguayan player. Although, you know, this is definitely a signing that I think they're trying to boost their midfield, which is kind of interesting because they already are pretty stacked in terms of the midfield. You know, they already have Remedi in the midfield. They just got Emerson on a permanent transfer. They also have Lorenovitz and Mo Adams in there in the midfield too. So they're pretty stacked in terms of that position. But it seemed like they're looking to try to get another center mid. And from what I heard, he is a very promising center mid from Paraguay. So, you know, when Atlanta can see a promising South American player, especially a promising Paraguayan player, they obviously are going to try to snatch it. But it's interesting to see if they're going to do it and what exactly his role is going to be considered. They look very stacked already in terms of the midfield, and that maybe this is just going to be either add a little bit depth in terms of that midfield, or the fact that they're actually going to try to make him a regular starter and try to do what Atlanta always do, which is purchase young South American player, develop them to be a decent player before selling them off to Europe. DC United rumored to add Ecuadorian playmaker Christian Alman and Venezuelan striker Gilman Rivas, and you know, it's no surprise that DC is rumored with a couple of attacker after, you know, their entire attacking force from last season is completely depleted in the offseason. Wayne Rooney, obviously he's gone. Lucho Acosta, he's just been been signed with Atlas a couple weeks ago, and the only guy that is left in that attack that that is that is still with the team from last season is Paul Arriola. And I know there was another player, I think it was Lucas Rodriguez. They were saying that they potentially are not going to bring him back after they weren't able to reach a permanent deal. So yeah, it's no doubt that I think this DC attack is going to look completely different than what we saw from last season, and it's going to be interesting. These two players that they have been rumored could actually fill in the role that the likes of Lucho Acosta and Wayne Rooney could actually be, or could fill in both of those players in those roles. Yimi Chara is rumored to join Portland Timbers and reunite his brother Diego Chara, and I heard this deal is actually very close to being done, and I heard that it's going to be a TAM contract that the Timbers are going to offer Yimi Chara. Makes sense, the fact that they offer him a TAM contract. I know when people first heard about this, they thought this was going to be the next designated player for the Timbers, but from what I heard, Yimi Chara, despite the fact that he's a very pacey winger, he is a guy that is kind of more like a playmaker than actually a goal scorer, which kind of really reminds me of one Portland Timber player that they signed from Peru in Andy Polo, and that definitely did not work out whatsoever. And I feel like if Yimi Chara is going to join the Portland Timbers, there is no doubt that Andy Polo is gone from that team. Like, there's just no spot left for him to be there. He's been stuck on the bench for most of the time, and that I won't be surprised if the Timbers are going to sell him off or just basically release him if they're going to get Yimi Chara. But going back to what I said, I fear the fact that last time when they were thinking about getting a pacey kind of winger, and that they thought that he could potentially score a lot of goals in Andy Polo, and that it didn't really work out. This could be the same case with Yimi Chara. Although, the good thing about this is that at least he gets to reunite with his brother Diego Chara, and that if both of these guys are going to be a very decent player, and if he showed similar quality in terms of what Diego Chara has shown for the Portland Timbers, yeah, I think this would definitely be a very good signing. But just keep in mind, the reason why I don't think he's a DP is because he's more of a playmaker and not really a guy that scores a lot of goals, and because of that, I think usually that is, as a winger, that's going to be cement yourself as a player that's most likely going to receive a TAM contract. Minnesota is rumored to acquire Uruguayan forward Luis Armilla, and I really hope that this deal, of course, would went through for Minnesota, considering the Loons desperately need a striker. Like, considering the fact that when you look at how coming into this upcoming season, where they only have Angelio Rodriguez and Mason Toy as their only two striker option, yeah, that's not really a good option in terms of going forward as your regular starter. And especially, I think, with the fact that when you mention those two players, I think Angelio Rodriguez is going to be like a regular starter. And when we saw what happened last season with Angelio Rodriguez playing as a main striker, yeah, that definitely did not work out. And even though Mason Toy, he had a good decent spell at near the second part of the season, right near the end of the season, that's when his good form really started to fizzle out, and you just wonder, that's when Minnesota started to run out in terms of goal scoring production. And I think this signing will definitely help in terms of not just putting some pressure off of Angelo Rodriguez and Mason Toy, but the fact that they can legitimately have a goal scorer that can replace what Darwin Quintero was mean to this team a couple of seasons that he's with the Loons. The Galaxy are rumored to, they actually haven't added this, I forgot to put the rumor here, but they're rumored to add defender Emmanuel Insu as their next acquisition, and I hope this deal does work out for the Galaxy, because anytime, I know I've been bashing the Galaxy in terms of the fact that they need to think about signing defender, and finally they have rumored to sign a defender, that I will quickly just say that, well, they're rumored to try to get this defender, but you know, we've seen this story before where they eventually got this defender. They thought he was going to be the answer to trying to solve the hot garbage defense that the Galaxy has been having for the last couple of years, and it turns out that was not the case. So hopefully, if they're going to rumor to get him, and that if he does step in and try to at least minimize the damage that this defense have caused to the Galaxy for a couple of seasons, then I think this is a very good signing. But as I said, just keep in mind every defender that the Galaxy have been signing for the last couple of years, and that they've been trying so hard to try to solve the issue of why in the world they always concede like 60 plus goal and have a hot garbage defense. All the option still hasn't worked. So hopefully, if they do get him, he's gonna be a guy that at least it's gonna be decent enough to kind of stop the leakage of that Galaxy defense that has been the case for the past couple of years. And finally, in terms of the last news of the week on this Christmas Day, is Patrick Viera says he has no intention of leaving Nice, despite there was rumored that he was favored of taking the Inter Miami managerial role. Now, I know one thing I will instantly say is that, well, this is bad news for Inter Miami, because if Patrick Viera basically says he has no intention of leaving the club that he's managing to try to go back to MLS and manage Inter Miami, who's next? Like, who is your next candidate that you are going to announce as your new manager? And keep in mind, you know, if they a couple of days ago, I think it was in the last episode, the news of the week episode, that they said that they were going to get a new head coach before the new year. And if the truth is the fact that they're going to get a new head coach before the end of the year, and that of course is the truth, then time is running out in terms of for them to try to get a new head coach. But what I want to say is that we have seen this before with Patrick Viera, and that you guys remember when he says he has no intention of leaving NYCFC, despite the fact that there was heavy rumors that he was going to go back to France and manage Nice. Guess what happened? He left NYCFC and go and manage Nice in Liga. So I'm not saying that this could happen again, but just to let you know that, you know, this, he has says before that he has no intention of leaving a club, and that he kind of double down and just kind of lie about that and instead joining another club, and that this could be the case again, where he's basically just saying that, well, I want to show my loyalty to the club that I'm managing, but at the same time, I'm also going to try to backstab them and say that I want to get out of here as soon as possible so I can take control of this managerial role of the team that I've been rumored for a very long time. But either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. As usual, let me know in the comments below what do you think of all these news, and let me know in the comments what other news that I missed that I didn't put on the board. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next time.